What's up, everybody? Alex from Columbus back again with another video. Today is a special video because this is a tribute, an entry into the contest of my good friend in real life and in make-believe, Americana or Americana Sam, depending on how you say it. Listen, I want to make this short and sweet, just like me downstairs. I don't want this to be a huge video, but the point is that I could make a huge, long video about my relationship with good old Sam, but I won't do that. I was thinking about making it like 55 minutes because his theme is a 5-year on YouTube anniversary contest, and all of his questions kind of center themselves around the figure 5, and I wanted to make it 55 minutes long, and our relationship is so tight, I believe that I could, but I won't to spare you and him the pain of that, but I might. This is for my buddy Sam, who was the first person I think I met or connected with on YouTube. We've become really great. You know, he's one of my best friends. I don't know if he'd say the same thing about me. He's pretty closed off down there in Southwest Virginia. You know, it's like they don't really go outside of the small town, but he's become one of my best friends, and I think we probably connected early because a lot of the people that do the YouTube thing, we love you all, but like they're a little bit older, a little bit grayer. I'm just a, fat 35-year-old. So I think we probably connected on a human level in that way. And then I got a chance to meet him when I went down to his neck of the woods for a couple of work trips. I've stayed at his apartment, he stayed at mine, and we've become great friends. And I just couldn't be more grateful for that. I say this, all the YouTube VC nonsense aside, man, if we just quit right now, at least I have that relationship, and it's a good one. So, Sam, 5 years on YouTube. I don't do this often, but for you, it's a specialty. So, hey, let's get after it. Getting the big 16-ounce can into this big old Oktoberfest Stein. I know it's not proper. Isn't that hilarious? This is 16 ounces, and that's all the farther it goes in this big old beer stein. So, hey, to you, Sam, happy 5 years. Here's to 5 more. Let's get after it. Here's the thing. I was going to chug that whole thing. Big brain freeze. All right. Let's get after the questions. So, first question is, show an active artist who hasn't released an album in 5 or more years. So here's the other thing. I wanted to samify these answers, right? So I wanted to my picks to be into the type of music I know he likes, or maybe it's music that he turned me on to, or maybe there's a story behind the record or something like that. So keep that in mind. Show, again, an artist who's active, alive, etc., but hasn't released an album for more than 5 years. I wanted to show this because it comes with a bit of a story. Technically, these cats are active in that they played a show in 2019, so 6 years ago. They haven't released a studio record or done any recording, I don't think, in over 20 years, but it's a band that Sam put on my radar, and there's a fun story with it. So the band is Velvet Crush, and I am showing the record Teenage Symphonies to God. So Sam actually sent me this as some vinyl community love triangle. I say triangle, it's train, but that's because I'm an idiot. And this is just a really great kind of early mid-90s, jangly kind of power pop, great record, right? I mean, I think their later record was produced by Matthew Sweet. Definitely were kind of in that whole family. In fact, Paul Chastain, who plays bass on this record, was in Matthew Sweet's band for a long time before Matthew obviously had to call it quits after his stroke a couple of years ago. But Sam sent me this record. I'd never heard of it before. This was several years ago. And I was like, hot damn, someone sent me a free record. How cool is that? Now, the coolest thing, and this is where the story time comes in, it actually my copy came with, I think, let me see if I can, okay. This is what I was looking for. So my copy that Sam had sent me came with a cute little kind of, business cardy kind of thing. This was exclusively distributed by Backgroove Records, I believe. And I turned it over to the side, and it's a kind of a hilarious stick figure drawing with Rick with an exclamation point. And I was like, wait a minute, Rick, R-I-C, Rick Mank was the lead singer, guitarist, songwriter, kind of leader of Velvet Crush. I was like, this obviously is just a really cool, like, signed, like, kind of postcardy insert. How cool is that? Wow. Thanks, Sam. And of course, I tell Sam that, and I was like, oh, that's really cool. You sent me an autographed, with a signed insert. And he's like, what are you talking about? Mine's not signed. I'm like, what? He bought the same from like the same people. He didn't get it signed. And then check this out. This is hilarious. This is some karma right there. Sam decides, because the back roof was like going under, I think. So they were offloading all their Velvet Crush records for like $7. Sam buys 3 of them. None of them got the signed insert. None of them got the signed insert. That's what you get, Sam. Happy 5 years. Moving on. Okay, so anyway, they haven't released a studio thing since like 2004, but it says they're still active. Again, they played some like live show, whatever. I'm sure Paul's looking for work, man. It's not like these people are millionaires. Okay, show a 5th album oh God, that beard. Show a 5th album in an artist's discography. Again, this is very Sam. This was probably the first band that Sam and I connected on. He loves them. I love them. We talk about them all the time. And this is a very, very important album, and I'll talk about why. But I'm going to go with Emotionalism by the Avett Brothers. Yeah, Sam talks about the Avett Brothers a lot, but I love them too. God, I started listening to these guys, I think when I Am Loving You came out back in like 2007, because I was 17, 18 when I started listening to that, and that like changed the game, and I kind of went in the back catalog. I'm showing this one, again, because it's the 5th record. It's autographed here, you see. Ooh, how fancy. Thank you, ring light, for that. But also, most importantly, and this is where the Sam connection is, he loves this album. One of my favorite songs of all time. I'm talking a top 5 favorite song of all time. It's a track off this record called The Ballad of Love and Hate. It is absolutely, to me, it's just a perfect song. It is songwriting just to the max, and I love it, and it's perfect, and it makes me cry, and it makes me smile, and it makes me do other things in and around the nether regions. And I love this record and that song to death. And Sam, as a talented singer-songwriter himself, will sometimes play that song, and when he does, it's like, boing, sort of thing. So that's why I'm showing that. Okay, show the 5th album on your record shelf. So the way mine kind of organized here, this is like rock, pop sort of thing. I got jazz in the back and soul in the back, and then kind of a specialty stuff for all my coal mine stuff. So I decided to go with jazz because I knew that Sam is now pretty heavily into jazz. Sam's gotten big time into jazz over the last year or so. I'd like to think that's because of me. So the 5th record on my jazz shelf, so we're in the A's here, is a bit of a corker, as they say, and is the Cannonball Adderley Sextet with Jazz Workshop Revisited. 1962 or 63 on Riverside. Of course, an incredible alto sax player, Cannonball Adderley, mostly known for, was it Something Else? Huge record that everybody talks about to have in like your jazz collection. But this is one howl of a lineup as well. We're talking featuring his brother Nat Adderley, who's on cornet. Is that the thing? Cornet, yes. The amazing multi-instrument Yusef Lateef is on here on flute and tenor sax. Joe Zawinul on piano. So this is obviously well before his work was starting with Weather Report. God, 10 years later almost. Sam Jones on bass, and then Louis Hayes on drums. So really cool. I always love some of these old like jazz records that say like recorded live, like live, whatever that means. What does it mean if it's live? Who knows? There you go. Great record, though. I'm glad I grabbed that one, and we can talk about it. I Can't Drive 55. Show an album you love to listen to in the car. Well, again, thinking about this in the Sam way, I couldn't help but think that this is just a perfect road trip in the album. This is, I think, up there. This is maybe Sam's favorite singer-songwriter, or at least in the top 3. And I'm a big fan as well, not nearly as much as he is, but I do love this album. This is my favorite thing he has done. And just the vibes of it and all the things that were going on in his life, professionally and personally, to me, just sort of scream, you know what, man? I just want to get into my car and drive. I don't know if I know where I'm going. I don't know if I have a destination in mind, but I just feel like I need to get in this car, get on the road, roll the windows down, and feel, something. And that is Tom Petty and Wildflowers. This was the big reissue they did, God, several years ago now, Wildflowers and all the rest. Big triple LP. Great documentary that kind of goes with this too, but man, you don't really think of Tom Petty as like this big, put a double album together sort of thing, but I think that's why I like it so much, is because it doesn't feel bloated to me. I think the songs are fantastic. I don't think there's much of many weak tracks on here at all. I've loved the title track forever. I think it's brilliant. You Don't Know How It Feels is always a classic. You Wreck Me was another huge hit on here. That was a smoker. You got Honeybee. There's just so much great stuff on here. So to me, again, all the things that were going on professionally and personally with him, I just love this record. And I know Sam does too. I'm glad I could show it. And then number 5, a $5 record. Show a record that you paid $5 or less for. So this is kind of cool because, and again, all these got a little bit of a story behind them. But when I first started collecting, God, 5-6 years ago now, I wouldn't say I was buying a lot, but I was part of like a good amount of Facebook groups who were doing like, budget $5, listings or whatever. And you would try to jump in the comments really quickly and be like, I want that, I want that, I want that. And this was one of the first ones. Now, I grew up on this record. I remember specifically hearing this album a lot as a child growing up. So when it was $5, I was like, oh, I'll grab it for $5. And actually still to this day, it's a pretty good deal because I've seen prices on this record get a little bit exorbitant. But it's the third from Van Morrison. Thinking about our boy, Ben Rankins in Australia. Cheers, Ben, if you're watching. I was good a little bit, but it's Moondance. This was the record I heard a lot growing up. I love this record a lot. I know it so well. With, and it's Stone Me or Stone Me. Half a block from the counter bear. That whole situation. These Dreams of You. What a classic that is. Glad Tidings is great. Everyone. Moondance obviously is spectacular. It's a marvelous night for a moon dance. And then Into the Mystic, which is, Into the Mystic is a perfect song, right? That's just absolutely incredible. So, yeah, I've always loved Moondance. Where does it fall in my Van ranking? I don't know. I find myself, again, it's the record you grew up on, and so it always has kind of a special place in your soul and in your butt. Anyway, that's it. 5 questions. If you don't know Sam at this point, what have you been doing? Go support the man. Yeah, Sam, love you to death, my brother. Seriously, from the bottom of my cold, black, darkened soul and heart, you're the man. Love you to death. And congratulations on 5 years, my guy. Here's to you and at least 5 more. And to everybody else, cheers out there. We'll see you on the next one. Bye.